Government could allow non-local students of some vocational subjects to stay in the city to look for work. Hong Kong Exchanges says stamp duty on stock transactions could drop on November 17th. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken meets Israel leader again. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. The government is planning to provide new pathways for non-local graduates from vocational training institutions to secure permanent residency in the city. That's in a bid to address labour shortage in fields such as aviation, construction and engineering. Jackie Lin reports.
The slew of talent-attracting measures by the SAR government not only targets high-end professionals, but also workers with mid-tiered technical skills. In the latest policy address, the chief executive proposes to allow non-local students who graduate from vocational training institutions to stay in Hong Kong for a year to look for jobs. These non-locals could apply for permanent residency after 7 years of work in the SAR. In the first 4 years, their jobs should be related to their profession. That encompasses aviation, transport and logistics, innovation and technology, as well as mechanical and electrical engineering, construction and marine services.
除咗高端人才之外咧，我哋其實中端咧都有個缺陷。
Secretary for Labour and Welfare Chris Sun said imported labourers with mid-tiered skill sets can help fulfill the development needs of the city's economy.
其實由大灣區廣東省咧。
Lawmaker Wong Kam-fai, who's also an IT professor, said if these non-local students are trained in Hong Kong, they can be familiarized with the relevant laws and ordinances in their fields early on, especially those in the aviation or construction sectors. But concerns linger for some construction industry representatives. Wang Ping, chairman of the Hong Kong Construction Industry Employees General Union, is worried the new scheme would dampen the interests of local workers. He added they may face even more competition for jobs on top of government schemes to import overseas workers for the construction industry. The Vocational Training Council will be responsible for the rollout of programs to facilitate non-local graduates to stay and work in the SAR, as well as exchanges of talent between Hong Kong, the Greater Bay Area, and other mainland cities. 27 programs will begin in the next academic year. Details of the application procedures will be out on a later date. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The Stock Exchange of Hong Kong expects to reduce the stamp duty on stock transactions on November 17th at the earliest. In a circular, the Hong Kong EX said the government published in the Gazette concerning the Stamp Duty Amendment Stock Transfers Bill 2023 on October 25th. It sought to reduce the stamp duty rate on the sale and purchase of stock from 0.13% to 0.1%. If the Legislative Council passes the bill, the rate will be adjusted on November 17th, but the exact date will be decided later, the Hong Kong EX said. A group of U.S. lawmakers have called for sanctions against a number of Hong Kong officials, including Secretary for Justice Paul Lam, Police Commissioner Raymond Su, as well as several top judges. The Hong Kong government has condemned the move. The Commissioner's Office of Beijing's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Hong Kong also expressed its opposition. The spokesperson said the move will not scare Chinese people. The office said certain unscrupulous U.S. politicians ignored the objective fact that Hong Kong has been back on the right track. It added that no sanctions can prevent Hong Kong's progress from stability to prosperity. Some residents reported that their money has been frozen in accounts after sending a remittance from Hong Kong to the mainland. Hong Kong Federation of Trade Unions said 64 requests for help have been filed to the organization over the past 9 months. Memo Sangai reports.
After the resumption of travel between Hong Kong and the mainland, many residents decided to buy property across the border. Such transactions involve a heavy amount of spending. And when it comes to remitting money to the mainland, people should remain alert and cautious. The Hong Kong Federation of Trade Unions of FTU said they have received 64 cases for help so far this year, all related to frozen mainland accounts after transferring money there through Hong Kong currency exchange shops. One of the victims is Mr. Ip, who transferred $250,000 intended to renovate his flat to his account via a currency exchange shop in Prince Edward in February. The man received a bank notification after a month saying unusual activity in his account led to his money being frozen by Hunan police. It was later told by the police that the currency exchange shop had not trusted another person to transfer his money back in February. The third party, however, was suspected of committing fraud, leading to Ip's account being frozen. Kingsley Wong, chairman of the FTU, said residents should beware of the risks when transferring money at currency exchange shops. He said while such shops may have more attractive offers, there is a risk of unwittingly being drawn into money laundering activities. Mainland 9, TVB News.
The Civil Service Bureau has rolled out a pilot scheme subsidizing government workers to have their teeth cleaned at private clinics. Authorities say that quota will not be offered to the public. Members of the public have been troubled by dental problems, especially senior citizens. But public dental clinics mainly serve civil servants and their family members. The government's pilot scheme rolled out in July to subsidize civil servants and their families to private dental clinics, however, has had an underwhelming response with only 25% usage rate. In Let's Go today, lawmakers asked if unused quotas can be opened to the public. But Civil Service Chief Ingrid Yeung said that particular fund is different from public funds. Overseas, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv today. Washington's top diplomat is expected to discuss with Netanyahu concrete steps to minimize harm to civilians in Gaza. Residents in the enclave are running out of food, fuel, water, and medicine. Buildings have been flattened and thousands of people have fled homes to escape relentless bombings. The White House said any pauses in fighting should be temporary and localized, dismissing calls from Arab and several other nations for a full ceasefire. With China taking over the rotating presidency of the United Nations Security Council for November, Beijing says the conflict will top its agenda. Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said it was imperative to promote a ceasefire, halt the fighting, and prevent further civilian casualties, as well as a wider humanitarian disaster. He said China will respond to calls from the international community, especially Arab states, and stand firm for justice. On assuming the presidency on Wednesday, China's permanent representative to the UN, Zhang Jun, said the path to peace is to pursue a two-state solution. Former cryptocurrency businessman and FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried's spectacular rise and fall in the cryptocurrency industry has hit rock bottom. A New York jury convicted him of fraud on Thursday for stealing at least $10 billion from customers and investors.
Sam Bankman-Fried perpetrated one of the biggest financial frauds in American history, a multi-billion-dollar scheme designed to make him the king of crypto. But here's the thing. The cryptocurrency industry might be new. The players like Sam Bankman-Fried might be new. But this kind of fraud, this kind of corruption is as old as time, and we have no patience for it.
A 12-member jury in Manhattan federal court convicted him on all 7 counts he faced after a month-long trial in which prosecutors made the case that he stole $8 billion from the exchange's customers out of sheer greed. The verdict came just shy of 1 year after FTX filed for bankruptcy in a swift corporate meltdown that shocked financial markets and erased his estimated $26 billion personal fortune. Bankman-Fried, an MIT graduate whose mother and father both are Stanford University law professors, could face decades in prison when his sentence is determined by U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan at the later date. His defense lawyers are expected to appeal the verdict. Still ahead on tonight's news. The 15th Hong Kong International Wine and Spirits Fair opens in Wan Chai. AI Summit in Britain outlines rules for artificial intelligence. Welcome back to TVB News. The 15th Hong Kong International Wine and Spirits Fair kicked off at the Convention and Exhibition Centre in Wan Chai today. The three-day event has attracted some 500 exhibitors from around the world.
Starting today, more than 500 exhibitors from 17 countries will showcase fine beverages here in Hong Kong. Champagne, red wine, sake, you name it. Trade buyers will be welcomed on the first 2 days, and ticket-holding members of the public aged 18 or above can visit on the last day, Sunday. Spanning 4 generations, this winery in Germany is in the city for the first time as it hopes to expand its business in Hong Kong and China. One of the highlights is this non-alcoholic wine. The vendor has a lot of good things to say about Hong Kong.
Hong Kong is up front. It's a little bit more modern. The fine dining is very, very good in Hong Kong. Also, you have the very young people looking for new products. As we are a small winery with only 18 hectares, we cannot ship like thousands of containers, so maybe China is too big for us. Maybe let's start with Hong Kong.
Also putting mainland fine wine on the global wine map, there are exhibitors showcasing fine products from Sichuan, Ningxia and Xinjiang. That includes this 4-year-old Chinese winery.
So it seems that each wine has its own story here. For instance, this wine was used by President Xi Jinping to receive French President Emmanuel Macron earlier this year.
This wine has been very, very popular for the last few months, of course in mainland China, but also in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a much mature market, so here the wine lovers, but also the traders, have been drinking wine from all around the world. So I believe that they have the ability to see the potential and the quality of Chinese wine right now.
Today's fair attracted many visitors in search of fine beverages, including visitors from overseas, the mainland, as well as local representatives from the F&B sector.
So far, the wine the market is going down, the price is dropped. I would like to find some wine from France because the quality is better. No idea about the sales figure, but my idea is about 10 pallet or 20 pallet.
Meanwhile, the president of Hong Kong's General Chamber of Wine and Spirits, Jojo So, said the amount of wine transiting through Hong Kong has dropped by about 30% in recent years. She added the greatest strength of Hong Kong is still its status of zero tariffs, which continues to benefit its wine industry when doing businesses with the mainland or ASEAN countries.
Chief Executive John Lee will lead a delegation to Shanghai on Saturday to attend the 6th China International Import Expo. The CE will attend the opening ceremony of the expo, with over 300 Hong Kong enterprises participating in the event. During the visit, the CE will also meet with leaders of the Shanghai municipal government, as well as Hong Kong people who work and study there. The CE and the delegation will return to Hong Kong on the 6th. Overseas, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said that progress at the first International AI Safety Summit that took place in the UK this week would tip the balance in favour of humanity in the race to contain the risks from rapid advances in artificial intelligence. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Speaking after 2 days of talks at Bletchley Park, a former code-breaking spy base north of London, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said agreements struck at the summit demonstrated both the political will and the capability to control AI technology and secure its benefits for the long term.
For the first time ever, we have brought together CEOs of world-leading AI companies with countries most advanced in using it and representatives from across academia and civil society. And while this was only the beginning of the conversation, I believe the achievements of this summit will tip the balance in favour of humanity.
Sunak organised the first International AI Safety Summit as a forum for officials, experts and the tech industry to better understand cutting-edge frontier AI that some scientists warn could pose a risk to humanity's very existence. It began on Wednesday with an agreement signed by 28 nations, including the US and China, to work toward shared agreement and responsibility about AI risks, and a plan to hold further meetings in South Korea and France over the next year. China did not attend the second day, which focused on meetings among what the UK termed a small group of countries with shared values. Also brokered at the summit was a deal to vet tech firms' AI models before their release and an agreement to call together a global expert panel on AI. Sunak later held a discussion with Tesla CEO Elon Musk in a conversation played on the social network X, which Musk owns. Musk said there was a role for governments to play when public safety is at risk in regards to AI.
I think that's the right way to think about this, is for government to be a referee to make sure the sportsmanlike conduct and that the public safety is, is addressed, that we care about the public safety. Because I think there might be at times too much optimism about technology, and I say that as a technologist. I mean, so I ought to know. And like I said, on balance, I think that the AI will be a force for good, most likely, but the probability of it going bad is not 0%.
Yeah.
So we just need to mitigate the downside potential.
Musk also praised China's willingness to cooperate in AI safety discussions. Dan Roll, TV News.
Storm Kiran smashed into coastal areas of the UK and the British Channel Islands on Thursday, with high winds lashing up waves and heavy rains falling over much of the country. Britain's Environment Agency urged people to prepare for inland flooding as some river levels remain high and the ground is saturated. In the Channel Islands, winds were between 144 kph and 160 kph for a full 3 hours. On the largest Channel Islands of Jersey, some houses were badly damaged, with windows broken and large parts of roofs ripped off by the storm. That's the news. Thanks for watching.